Hey, what is going on, guys? Shinobi here, and yeah, that's right. I've got a camera. I decided to finally go and get it. I've always felt that I should be like a director and kind of be like behind the scenes type thing, and I know the quality probably isn't amazing, but that'll be changed in time. Just kind of bear with me for now. Getting a new computer soon, and I will actually be telling you more about that in upcoming videos, so make sure you check that out. But for today, what we're doing is I decided to start something which is where it's like Shinobi reviews patch notes type thing, where I actually will look at the patch notes on something that's come out in Diablo or World of Warcraft and kind of give you my opinions on them, and maybe if something was implemented that wasn't good and Blizzard sees this, then you get your feedback and my feedback, and maybe they'll change it, or maybe they can see what they're doing correctly. I think just feedback in general is always just a good thing, whether it's negative or it's positive. So looking at here, if you want to follow along with me while I'm going through the video, I put a link down in the description below to take you to the patch notes. But let's start with everything here. Now, I did read over them kind of briefly, and they're actually not that bad. Like, just going through, I expected less in this patch. And this patch went into PTR, as you can see right here, which kind of made me a little confused. Because I was like, why is this going to PTR? You're just giving us like an identify all button, you're just giving us like stuff like that. But they actually decided to add a lot more stuff that they didn't talk about recently or beforehand. So let's go into some of that stuff. Now, in general, starting off, I don't like to skip. I just kind of read through the whole thing. So let's go through it. In general, they have the identify all button that will be coming out, which we knew it was going to happen, which is great. Very much looking forward to that. And there's a lot more cool features with that soon, which I'll tell you about in just a minute. The next thing here, cooldown incurred by changing skills outside of town is now reduced to 30 seconds instead of 60. Not really a big deal. Most people just go back to town and actually just kind of change their skills anyways, so not really a big deal. Another, small thing, a video setting thing, not really a big deal. Then we have multiplayer co-op, which at first I was like, what is this? Is this some PvP related thing? Well, let's look over it. Players now receive 10% bonus to Magic Find, Gold Find, and Experience per additional player. So, for instance, if you have a group of 4 people, you're going to get an actual 30% Magic Find, Gold Find, and Experience. Now, it doesn't say anything about if you have to be 60 or lower, so I think the power leveling video that I made is even better now because, which I'll put a link to it at the end of this video, which would be a lot better because you're getting more XP, you're getting more Gold Find, getting more Magic Find, so nothing wrong with that, right? So, sorry I keep looking at myself on the camera over there. It's I'm just trying to make sure all the settings are correct here, but we're just kind of sitting here and relaxing, so it's not really a big deal. But that's kind of cool that they did that. They want to get more people playing together. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future with that. Now, if you're kind of confused on exactly how it works, the Magic Find and Gold Find bonuses can exceed their respective 300% caps. So now your cap would be like in a 4-person group, you'd have 330% cap plus what you get when you're Paragon 100 plus the MP level, which is pretty cool. Now, the experience bonus can stack with other bonuses, such as, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. Moving on down, a notification will be sent to players whenever a party member engages an elite or a treasure goblin in combat. So that's pretty cool. Remember how before people would be like E or like found a group or something like that? Now whenever you find one, they'll automatically be notified and they can go there and check it out. I think it's a pretty cool feature. It's kind of a small little subtle thing that Blizzard did that I think that a lot of people will appreciate. So moving on, we have see some bug fixes, which usually I don't really pay too much attention to bug fixes because usually if I see something wrong with the game, Blizzard's usually on top of it. They're usually going to fix something, so I don't really pay too much attention on that, especially when it comes to achievements, which I don't really care much about. Now, the auction house. This is a big one here, guys. Read this with me. Tooltips in the auction house will now share an item comparison for a player's currently selected character. Really? They finally came out with it? If you ever played World of Warcraft and you went into the auction house and you say, is this item better than my item? And you can look at both of them kind of both together. Well, right here, now you're going to be able to actually see, if I'm reading this correctly, you're actually going to be able to see, Does this give me more damage? Do I lose damage? Instead of having to link it to yourself and go back in, I'm so proud of Blizzard for finally doing this. It took them way too long. This is something that should have been in the game a long time ago, and I think auction house buying and selling is going to be a lot more fluent, and I definitely think it's going to be great. So that might, right there, that might get a lot of people to start playing Diablo more often, and I think they're... Good job, Blizzard, on that one. That was needed. Now, moving down to Battle.net, at first I was like, oh, PvP? Is this PvP? What's going on, PvP? So I look at it. Matchmaking. Players will now be able to search for games that were started on any quest once they reach level cap. Oh, they're talking about public rooms. Great. You know how many times I've done public rooms? I don't need to do public rooms because I have... My friends list is full, so if ever I need to play with somebody... But it gets better. Let's keep reading. In addition to selecting the difficulty, monster power, and quests, players will also be able to choose the following tags when searching for a public game. Okay? No tag, questing, brawling. They have a queue-up system for PvP. Oh my god! It's about frickin' time. How easy would it have been to implement that to begin with? This is going to get a lot of people to come back to the game. Okay? Next, coming up here, social, a bunch of little social things, you know, not a big deal. Kind of just going to skip this kind of stuff. Players may be marked as player party guide, just little nichey things, not really a big deal in my opinion. Let's move on down here. Let's kind of skip that. If you want to go back and read that, then go for it, but it's not really a big deal. I read over it before, it's not too big. Then they fixed a bug fix with the Skeleton King, whatever. Then we have class changes, and I'm like, oh, class changes. Alright. So I look over and I'm like, oh, wizards are the only thing that got a class change. That's okay though. This wasn't supposed to be a huge patch anyway, so wasn't really expecting any changes whatsoever to classes. Not that a lot of classes really need them. However, this one right here, Archon, the duration of Archon should now be extended by assists from players. So remember if you were using Archon form before and you'd be going through and you'd be killing stuff and you were with a party member and he gets a killing blow on something, your Archon form would just keep losing that duration. So it made you really fight to try and get the killing blow on that, but now it's not a big deal because you get assists, making it easier to be an Archon wizard. Teleport, players may not teleport to any location within range as long as the path is available. So they're pretty much saying right there that we're giving you more options to places you can teleport to. But you still have to watch out for pathing. They're probably not going to be able to teleport from like the top of a bridge to the bottom of the ground or something, for just an example. Alright, so let's keep moving on. Crafting. Now here's some interesting stuff right here. General. Players can now craft multiple items and gems at a time within the same tier. Now it does not mention how many at one time, but with some testing on the PTR, and we actually get to see it come out, then we'll know exactly for sure. But do I think this is really cool? I do. I think that's really awesome. That now I can craft, like, I've gone through thousands of crafted items to get the best items that I could. I mean, I got, trifecta gloves, I got a bunch of stuff like that, but it took a long time to get that. And that time would have been shortened by a lot if I was able to craft maybe 10 items at a time, or 20 at a time, or something like that. I think that would be a huge difference towards doing that. Now, I'll give you a tip though. If you're going to use this system here, don't go too crazy, because if you're looking for a specific gloves, like for instance, BOA gloves, for instance, is probably something that crafting multiple of wouldn't be such a good idea, because let's say on your very first craft, you set the total to like 20 at one time or something. Let's say that's even an option you can do. You set it for 20 at one time. The very first one was your trifecta gloves that were like the best ones. And you're pretty much not going to get better than those. Very rare that will happen, but if it does, you just wasted all the materials on the other stuff. You can look at it either way. If you're kind of lazy, probably go with that route. If you want to take your time, you can go the other way too, I'm sure. So, not too bad. Now, gets better though. Players can now craft items using materials located in their shared stash. That's cool. Now you don't have to keep running over from your stash and putting things over. You just craft stuff. That's it. As long as you have it in your stash, you're good to go. I think that's a pretty sweet idea. Now, moving on to blacksmith, salvaged item information will no longer be displayed in chat. You remember that before, where in the bottom left corner you'd be talking to somebody, and then you go to like wait for their response, and you're crafting something you're salvaging, and it just like just fills up your whole chat. So that was dumb, but they fixed that, so that's great. Monsters. Now, this is going to change the game a lot. I actually made a video on this, and I can't believe that it's actually being put into play. You can go back and look at my video that I actually talked about this, and I'm just in awe. So check it out, guys. Here it is. Players should now encounter more monsters in Acts 1, 2, and 4. Hey, where's 3? Oh, because they knew 3 was the best act, as I explained, and I said that the other acts needed to be just as good. And guess what they did? The other acts will be just as good. Now, if you want my opinion here, whenever Blizzard buffs something, they go a little too far because they want everybody to test it. So, do Acts 1, 2, and 4 now, because, in my opinion, do Act 1. I think that'll be the best. But that's a little tip for you there. I haven't really tested it myself yet. I don't know how much monsters they actually put in there, but I can just imagine just how awesome it's going to be. Like, I'm excited for this. There's so many little things that I'm excited for, and I hope you are too. So yeah, that's pretty huge. You have to be on onslaught power 1 or greater, not a big deal. Then moving down, in multiplayer games, the increase in monster hit points per additional player has been reduced to 50%. So before, every time someone came in, they'd get 70% health. Now it's only 50%, just making things easier. Now, of course they did this. They nerfed the tormented stainers and crawlers, aka the spiders, or aka the scorpions. So I made a video talking about that, and there were some people that kind of disliked the video because they thought that I copied Mildred, because he had talked about how the scorpions were overpowered. Well, guess what? Everybody has talked about how the scorpions are overpowered since the beginning. I was just giving an example. But I did go more into depth about it than he did, and I didn't get the idea from him. I had just been testing in Act 3 for a while and streaming through Act 3, and I got so bored of Act 3 that I was like, why can't Act 1, 2, and 4 be equally as good? So I made that video. And yeah, so I'm glad Blizzard actually listened. So you guys that made comments on that video, they actually listened. So they watch my channel, guys. They really do. And they probably saw Moldrin's videos as well, and they probably saw Kriparian's videos as well, even though he doesn't really talk about Diablo 3 anymore. So keep that in mind, guys, that when you make a comment in one of my videos, you never know. Blizzard may see it, and they may take your feedback. So that's pretty cool. Moving on down, quest experience earned by completing quests can now be granted at the level cap. So for instance, if you're Paragon leveling, right, and you were, maybe you're level 60 and you're power leveling one of your friends or something like that, you're actually going to get the XP from the quest givers, because before, remember, they blanked that out when you were level 60. So now, even when you're actually Paragon leveling yourself, by yourself, doing Inferno, whatever, you're going to get quest XP as well, too. I think Blizzard's trying to urge people to actually play more of the game than just kind of farm little small areas. And I think overall it's better for them, and it's better for us. Some more small little things here. A maximum of 8 buffs on the debuff thing on the UI. Remember before you'd have so many buffs, like especially like a barbarian, when you pop all your cooldowns and doing all this stuff, and you have maybe some shrines and stuff like that. But now it's actually a lot better, to the point that, yeah, you get to see more buffs and more debuffs. So more is always better. So yeah. And then some more bug fixes right here, but that's about it, guys. I mean, my overall opinion on this patch, it's one of my favorite patches that Blizzard has done up until now. Most of this stuff we have screamed in Blizzard's ear saying they needed to do, and they finally did it. I'll be excited to queue up for Brawling, even though it's not that fun. I'll be still waiting for the matchmaking system. Just like the ranking system and everything like that, and more PvP stuff in the future. But I think it's going to make more people start doing that. And, overall, I think a lot of these things were actually pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited to, play other acts than Act 3. And actually, it may actually feel like coming back to the game, and maybe even feel like playing the game for the first time once again. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure you hit a like and comment and share and all that stuff, and go check out my live stream. I'll be starting my live stream up again soon. I had to shut it down for a little while because my computer just really couldn't handle live streaming anymore. It was just wearing down on it. But I am getting a new computer very soon, and I'll be streaming in like high quality, and everything will just be great. I'll be playing with people. Before I couldn't play with people because it was too laggy, but now I'll be able to. I'll talk more about that in the future, but go check it out. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, join the Ninja Army. My name is Shinobi, and until next time, thanks for watching. So what I've done in this video is I documented exactly what we did to level from 1 to 60 in about 3 hours. You're seeing on the screen right now 2 screenshots, or a couple screenshots, showing pretty much the proof. One of them is about 3 hours and 22 minutes, another one is about 3 hours and 29 minutes, and I'm going to pretty much tell you in this video how you can do it about the same speed